What's up, everybody? It's a Tip Touch Podcast back at you again with another brand new motherfucking episode. As always, I have my awesome fucking co-host here with me, Brett, and you know me by now, Eduardo, Ed, whatever you want to call me. What's
Man
up, brother?
that needs no explanation.
No introduction.
And that need no introduction.
You know what? We have the shades on, just for the people to know, because we have a bright future. Hey, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to switch it up today, and also to this fucking light up here that I use for my lighting, so you can see my beautiful brown complexion. It's a little too bright, so I have sensitive eyes.
I just want to show you a little something that was just sitting on my table.
All right, see it.
See this right here?
The fuck is that? Tooth?
Yeah.
Really?
So when I was in my early 20s, I had to have all four of my molars taken out.
Okay.
And so I think the dentist, so they put me completely under, and of course I wanted my teeth, but yeah. So I don't know. Out of all these years, I think they destroyed two of them, okay. And I was able to keep two of them, and then and somehow, some way, I only have one left. So starting bid, we'll start it at $400. So if anybody wants one of my tooth, it's history.
And starting bid. We'll put it on eBay. We'll put the link in our bio too as well for people that want to, bid on that bad boy. You're witnessing history, making it to maybe a little cool piece.
Yeah.
Keep it a little box on your belly fucking
button
nightstand.
Ring. Yep, belly button ring.
An earring.
If you live in Malibu.
Yeah. Since we're talking about teeth, I remember when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, and we'll start off the episode on this. I remember, I was hoping for some reason, I hope I don't have to have my wisdom teeth pulled out or yanked out.
Yeah, no one wants to be stupid.
I know, right? So I went to the dentist and they're like, yeah, your wisdom teeth are coming in. It'll be about time we have to pull those bad boys out. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, fuck it. I might as well just, get them pulled out. Might as well right now, right?
Yeah.
And I had all four of them. But you know what's crazy? I met a lot of people that have had all four of them taken out, and it's like whatever to them. But for some reason, mine was, they put me under, and my dad, I remember my dad, shout outs to Pops, he took me to my appointment, and I went under, started counting backwards. Before I hit fucking like 3, I fucking just passed out. I remember waking up in my bed, kind of hunched over, dude, and I was just gushing blood from my mouth. And my dad had a little bucket there where I was spitting out blood, or it was catching all the fucking just blood coming out, but it was bad.
Was there a drive-by shooting when they were removing your teeth or what?
Oh, right. I got hit multiple times, right? Fuck the hospital.
Yes,
my son's gonna make
blood,
it,
but it's not from your mouth.
from your torso. No, dude. But it was crazy because I feel like my experience was just fucking more. It was much more worse. So I don't know. It was just bad. And I was out for a week because my fucking face got swollen. It was bad, bro. It was really bad. But I mean, I got it done. I'm here now. I don't have a fucking, doesn't hurt when I bite down because it was kind of hurting in the backside. So yeah, that's my little story.
And you're sticking to it.
Oh, I'm sticking to it.
When they did, so with me, I was hoping that they would just, gas mask me to put me out.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they didn't. They injected me,
the fuck?
They put me out with some tranquilizer diet. And I'm like, dude, when I'm on death row, is this the stuff they're going to use? Because I was out quick.
Really? Oh, yeah. How long do you think it took you for it to fucking hit your whole body and you're fucking done?
I don't know, man. They just sit down. They talk to you like they're your therapist, and they're like, hey, everything's calming down. All right, you're doing good. And then you're just going out. And I'm like, dude, I hope that's how I die. I hope I don't die in a hell of gunfire like my dad did. And
your dad did. Oh no.
I hope I don't follow the family tree. So so yeah, and then dude, I woke up and I'm like, dude, I was at this time I was probably 260 pounds.
Okay.
And so I don't know how they managed to get, because when I fell asleep, I was in the dentist, the chair.
Yeah.
But when I woke up, I was in the waiting room. And
oh, really?
Apparently I was freestyle rapping when I was still out of it. And I was just rapping to the nurse and everything. And pronto. I couldn't drive home. They gave me a prescription of Percocet. And at the time I thought, man, I hear a lot of rappers talking about this. But
Oh
I had a lot of
shit.
friends who were strung out on drugs,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was always really good about just kind of watching their downfall from a distance. So I never partook. I remember one time we were smoking a bong, and then my friend thought he was being sly, and he threw in some crank, and all I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
was like some white crystals going in the bong.
Oh shit.
Like, I already had a couple of hits in me, but I'm looking at him like, you gonna do me like that?
Are you serious right now?
You know? Yeah. And so I just let him and his friend destroy their lives.
Oh shit, really? So
Yeah.
he tried to kind of dice it up with something else?
He was trying to be sly, like, he tried to slip it in
Yeah.
as if I didn't see it. And I looked at him and I looked down at the thing and I just shook my head like,
It's like, nah, homie.
you're not
I ain't
doing me
going
like
down
that,
that
homie.
road. Say I ain't going
Yeah.
down that fucking that road that's been taken too many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, that's
So
crazy.
yep, I just yeah, I let them kind of do their own thing. So anyway, so I had this full bottle of Percocet. So I was like, well, and had was one homeboy I was rapping with. I forget where he was from. He was from I think Atlanta or something crazy.
ATL,
He's like,
okay.
"Hey man, can I get that bottle from you?" And I was
Here,
like,
have a crack at it.
"Yeah, nah, no, no." I honestly, honest to God, I took it to the police station. I took
Like,
one because they said you're not even going to want to feel the pain, so just take one.
yeah,
But dude, I've lived a life of pain, and I just love feeling the embrace. So I took the one that they told me to, but then I'm like, I just want to see how bad this pain is gonna get.
yeah.
So I didn't take any more, and didn't hurt. I mean, everything was like normal. They did a good job. Wound healed up. I didn't use any
Okay.
straws or anything crazy, and I just took the Percocet to the police station, and they took it.
Fuck, dude. I
So
remember when I was out, I dropped like maybe 10 pounds because I was just drinking smoothies and just like I
yeah.
couldn't, dude. I was like literally hungry for solid foods. And my dad was just getting me like the fucking smoothies by the gallon, just straw, just sipping away, dude. That's all I was drinking. And like I said, man, you know what's crazy? Here's the funny thing. This was the time around when Jersey Shore was kind of like the it show. So,
Mm.
of course, me laying in bed, just kind of, in pain here, just relaxing, watching TV. I managed to watch almost every season and every episode of fucking Jersey Shore
Oh
up until that
no.
point. And I mean, people could say
Did you
that
have a
was fucking
crush on
torture.
Snooki?
No, no, no. I wasn't. She was funny, but no, I didn't have a crush on her. No, but
Yeah,
it's crazy because like there was really no other good episodes, like anything else interesting to watch at that time. So I just kind of ran through that, and that was kind of my entertainment, I guess you can say.
for sure.
It was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, I remember like at that time, I didn't get sick a lot, so I had to like force myself to get sick because the reason why I loved getting sick, like getting the flu and all that, was because
Yeah.
that's the only time I could lose weight. That's like when my body was
Jesus.
so sick that it didn't even want to eat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of like that because I like lose like what you were saying, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So whenever one of the homies would be getting sick, I'd be like,
They cough on me real
hey,
quick.
can I have a drink of that?
But that kind of eased out nowadays, huh? Since we're in 2020, did that ease off a little bit?
Yeah, I don't want that Corona. Yeah,
Shit.
they could keep the receipt on that.
Oh, keep the
But hey, I
receipt.
saw the prez get it, and he took it like a champ, dude. He took it like
Oh, dude.
Theodore
Let's speak.
Roosevelt giving a speech.
So let's speak on that. Let's shift over to that topic. So we're going from our dentist tales down to our president.
Mm,
So there's a lot of different, I guess, people saying different things in realms of he took it, like you said, he took it like a champ, right? But then there's
took it like
other
a
people
G.
saying from within the circle that he doesn't look too good, that he's kind of like pushing on the gas too much. He's doing a little overdoing it all the top. He should just kind of kick back a little bit. And yeah, so I mean, we're hearing two different things. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, he's alive, he's doing good. I mean, we can see from what he's putting out, it looks like he's doing good. But then there's that one infamous video that they released where he does look like he's having some trouble, like catching his breath. I'm like, whoa, homie, like that doesn't look
Yeah,
right.
you
So I
know,
mean, who knows, right? But I mean, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that the medicine that they gave him or the medication that he gave him that supposedly is going to be, is it part of the what is it, the medication that they're giving COVID patients to kind of help them push through this, is legitimate? Like, it's going to work for everybody that is going through this?
Well, I think the reason why they have they're treating people differently is because all of our bodies are a little bit different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, so I think that with him, I was happy when they treated him with remdesivir,
Mm-hmm.
and because like I think we said on the last podcast, that's what they treated the guy that the very first case in the United States was when in Everett, Washington, and they treated him with the same thing, and he was out. Nothing,
Okay.
whatever. He was out, and you never heard from him again. He's probably in Wuhan right now. He's probably in that picture with
He's
in
partying it
Wuhan
up.
when they were all just like in the water party.
He's in the fucking pool, just fucking downing beers left and right.
Dude,
Woo!
listening to ACDC, he was just like, man, I love being American.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we did talk about that. If you want to check that episode out, go check it out on all major streaming platforms. But yes, you're right. He did take the same thing that they gave Trump, right? And he's doing. I mean, I'm sure he's doing good now, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but then they were treating Trump with steroids. So the different reports that we were hearing, and I think right, it's so weird because I don't know what's true and what's not.
yes,
Because
yes,
there were
exactly.
reports that his oxygen saturation levels dropped,
Yeah,
and for me, looking at Trump and how he is I'm like, all he's trying to do right now is show everybody he's kicked
yeah.
it. And I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie, my brain went into conspiracy mode. I'm like, Kamala Harris sent somebody in to meet somebody that Trump met. She's trying to kill him.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then it went even further. I'm like, she wants Biden out too. That's why Pelosi's talking about this 25th Amendment and trying to get that to where she says, "Oh, it's not about Trump. It's not about Trump." I'm like, "Yeah, it's about Biden. You want Biden out so you can get Kamala Harris in." Dude, my brain is in hyperdrive right now
Oh,
on
really?
conspiracies. Oh, it's
So, my thought on this, it's more. I guess you can call it conspiracy. Fuck it, we'll throw in the conspiracy jar. But it's more of like a kind of a winning hand for Trump in the sense of like kind of rallying up his supporters in the sense of like, look at me, I got COVID, I'm doing good. Everybody shouldn't freak out about this shit. It's kind of like having a little bit more of an upper hand. You know what I'm saying? So
he's saying what most people were saying to begin with
yeah,
is the people that were, I mean, and if I were someone who knew someone who died from it that was younger,
yeah,
not in that, I mean, and he was in that risky age group,
yeah,
that
yeah, that's
at
true.
risk. He was overweight, he was almost 80 years old, getting close to that, to where this COVID was killing most people.
Hmm.
And so, but the fact that he kicked it, I'm like, he's literally telling us the same exact things that all these doctors who are being silenced are trying to tell people, and,
Hmm.
and say, hey, this really isn't the boogeyman that,
Yeah.
that we want, that some people are trying to make this out to be, trying to close whole economies. So is is Trump right now? Is Trump correct in saying that maybe we don't need to close entire cities, entire industries? Maybe this whole, wearing a mask and restricting only the elderly and maybe the very young. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I just think that, I mean, by the time this whole pandemic runs through and we finally know what the answer is,
Yeah.
we're already going to have a vaccine. We're already going to have herd immunity in there. So I don't think that anybody's going to agree on it anyway. Even if, like, when Kamala Harris was talking about at the vice president debate with Pence, she said if even if Trump has the vaccine, she wouldn't take it.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's just bitterness right there. That's just
Yeah.
someone who's just bitter.
Hmm.
And we can't be in that spot. So I just think that this country is so divided that even if the creator himself came up with the answer, there would be half of the United States that would say, nope,
Hmm. I wouldn't take it.
either
I'll
on
tell you
either
that.
way.
I wouldn't take it only because this is a vaccine that is being rushed. How fast to fucking get it out to the mass to put themselves in? I mean, we've already talked about this before, where I think you even said yourself, like, no, I'm cool. I'm gonna let my own body do its thing and see if it's gonna pretty much, I guess you could say, fight it off like any
Mhm.
other disease that we've had in history,
Yep.
in the past. But going back to what we were saying about how, we need to keep mostly the elderly and maybe the younger, the younger kids and babies and all that, away from this thing. It's almost, I always want to, like, remind people, this is something that obviously we really don't know how it's really been transmitted. Another CDC is saying that it's air transmitted, right? That it's like, you can catch it, not directly from somebody, but within the air, I guess.
Someone said that if you open your email from someone who has COVID, you can catch it through email. That's what I heard.
I mean, but they don't know. It's like we don't fucking
Kidding.
know 100%. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
And
know.
for people, like, there's certain individuals too that get it. And I've read stories about younger people, like in their 20s, 30s, that get it and they fucking don't make it through. But then again, what do we know about their current state of health? Like, have they had any existing preconditions before that? I mean, we don't know, right?
Right.
Could
But
that contribute
if
to
you
it?
look at the Trump crowd
Yeah.
that got it and look at how quickly it spread, but you also saw that in this Trump crowd that nobody wore masks. I mean, at the debate, everyone was supposed to wear a mask, right? And Trump, everybody in his cabinet or anybody that was in his entourage there, none of them wore masks. They didn't wear
Yeah.
masks.
Yeah.
And right, I would have been upset if I was the people that put this thing on and saw that the whole Trump crowd wasn't wearing their mask. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the one thing, that's the cheapest, easiest, most effective thing we can do,
Yeah.
minus a vaccination,
Yeah.
the one that's proven that you can do. And when you see someone, and then when you see them catch COVID, and then everyone else that's attached to them, then you're like, well, no shit. I mean, you literally didn't follow any of the guidelines. I mean, it's a wonder to me how you and your whole crew caught this thing.
Yeah, I mean, Kellyanne Conway, what is it? Kellyanne Conway. She got it. What is it? Man, there's a. I mean,
Seems
I
like
don't
it
know.
started with Hope Hicks, Trump, Melania, who else? Mark Meadows.
Okay.
I don't know. But a bunch of people. I mean, we know that, everybody but Pence.
Yeah, and forgive me for not knowing the names. I'm horrible at remember names. That's why I just can't come up with them. That's why my boy here, obviously have my back and fucking spitting out these names like hot fire. But yeah,
I mean,
it's
and when I heard that Pence didn't get it, I'm like, yeah, because Pence is never allowed at the table. Like he's always the odd duck, like, oh yeah, oh hey Mike,
hey Mike,
how you doing?
Let's get out of here.
That's why he didn't get it,
right?
He hanging with the cool kids.
Yeah. So let's switch directions and let's talk about this debate, which I feel like the winner of it was the fucking fly on his head.
You
and
think
when
he
that
won?
happened,
You think he? Oh, the winner was the fly. Oh, I get
fly.
it.
And it was when I was watching it live, and I was like, am I tripping or am I seeing something that it's something is on his head? And I really look closely, I'm like, that's a fucking fly on his head. And dude, I like, it's crazy how the internet will respond within seconds of that happening. Twitter fucking memes up the ass. I'm like, dude, it's crazy. They'll fucking find a way to utilize that and just run with it.
I was texting Scott. So Scott and I were texting back and forth,
Yeah, shout out Scott.
And I was like, oh my God. I go, there's a fly on his head. I'm expecting it to move. I'm like, oh no, it was planted. It's staying.
It was fucking feet down, 10 toes down on that bitch, dude.
And I was like, dude, this is gonna go viral. This sucks. This is gonna go viral.
And it did, dude.
Sure enough, he's sent it, just like what you said. Everybody just Twitter getting lit. It was lit. It was all over the internet. I had the internet going nuts.
Slim Thugger.
But that fly did. He definitely won the debate because the debate was it was crazy. There was
so what do you think though initially, man? You're my guy to go to when we talk about this and we kind of like go through just the back and forth and just kind of decide like did somebody win? Who was the winner? Nobody win or not convinced or whatever.
Normally I never watch vice president debates. Never.
Okay.
This is the very first one in history I watched, and it was only because the president caught COVID. Had the president not caught COVID, I would have said, okay, well, we'll just wait for the next debate between Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to hear what Pence and Harris have to say. There's just who are they? They're just the next person in line and whatever,
Yeah.
So nobody ever watches the vice presidential debates.
I didn't even know they had them, to be honest, until I saw it. I'm like, wait, what?
I know, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you and me both.
You know what I mean?
But anyway, so I watched this one just because the president caught COVID, and I'm like, like, how's Trump going to pull through? Is he going to pull through? So,
Yeah.
and honestly, I don't see if president, if former vice president Biden gets elected, I do not see him running a full term without croaking, or as Pelosi is trying to get this 25th Amendment thing
What is the 25th
situation.
Amendment?
Okay, the
Explain.
25th Amendment is uh, it talks about whether the president is suitable or is able to run an office. So
Okay.
can the president, like, is the president, so say that, like, President Reagan, they were worried about him when there was an assassination attempt in 1982. He barely made it. He almost died. And
Okay.
so when he was dealing with all of those wounds, dealing from the wound, the gunshot wound, and all the surgery and all the medical procedures that were taking place, they were like, man, he's kind of losing it with all these medicines that we have to give him, and
Yeah.
just the trauma of it. So they were apparently in talks back then to talk about enacting the 25th Amendment and putting him, and then having his vice president, which I think was George Bush Sr., letting him take place.
Okay.
So it never happened, though. He was able to pull through, but that's what that's for. Is, can the president, is he fit to run office? Can he, with all of his wits, can he or she run this country? And so that's what, with when you have two presidents that are, President Trump would be 74 in January if he takes office for a second term, and Biden is 78. And yeah, I mean, it's honest. I mean, it's a conversation to be had. It really is. I mean, um, but at the same time, of course, the opposite party is going to be the one to talk about it. So I guarantee you, if Biden's in office, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy
I
because
think, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like the age requirement to be the president of the United States, they should really look at that. Even before, before Trump took presidency, that there's nothing to do with that, just saying it because of him or whatever. But that is kind of a thing they should really look at. And like, okay, minimum requirements from this age to this age. I don't know what, like how they would decide that, but you're right. They should be looking at that because I mean, dude, you're a little more frail at that age, man. I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, dude. You're not what you were when you're 20 years old, So
and I mean,
I would
what
just
if
say
you're
that.
in that YOLO moment, right? Where you're just like, you know what? I'm going to die very soon anyway. And I really do want to drop some nukes on China. So let's just drop some nukes on
Fuck it,
China.
I'm going out with the bang, baby. If you know what
Yep.
I mean.
You know, yeah.
Mm.
Bye.
Oh man, we already know what you would do if you were president.
I don't know what. No, I honestly, like, you wouldn't want a Brett Otto presidency, just simply because I have a lot of libertarian views. So a
Mhm,
lot of libertarian views are to get our troops home, to focus on this country, the problems of this country, not create problems outside.
mhm.
And I would, really be hammering on the debt, the national debt. But I would also fix the tax plan. I would have just a straight, no loopholes, no benefits, no nothing tax plan. It would be everybody pays 10%, and that 10% goes, for infrastructure, for whatever. And we have to look at this debt because we gotta, I've got kids to look out for. They're going to have kids. You guys are in the same boat.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get this country fixed. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I say it like it's so easy, but if you
Yeah,
try to implement that type of stuff and you try to, make people pay 10% that have only been paying 2%, you try to make pay people you know, not get $10,000 or whatever refunds back, because there will be no such thing as a refund anymore. I'm taking
yeah,
all that away. There's no more refunds. Especially, one thing I always hate is when people get a refund back that's like 10 times more than what they paid. I'm going,
Yeah.
no, that's not a refund.
You're
It's
right. I do agree. There's it's kind of like just the basic simple thought of just let's fix our home within, and then we can go ahead and fix other issues that are outside of the realm, you know. So, but it's crazy. It's crazy that there's such a bunch of loopholes when you have all these multimillionaires like Bezos fucking not paying a fucking cent of taxes. You know what I'm saying? It's insane to me. But yeah, here we are, like us, you know, making what we make every other year and having to fork over a couple G's, whatever, you know, it's fucking mind boggling, dude. It's insane.
yeah, and I mean, here you're talking about the taxes. Yeah, there were a lot of people that were really upset about Trump only paying $750 in taxes. Now, me, I'm someone who absolutely abhors paying taxes.
Mm,
And so so I'm looking at him going, okay, now if he found a way, by hiring people, then there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way, right?
that's the thing. I think people, you know, they did get triggered off the point of like, you know, you have him that makes millions a year, pay $700 in taxes for whatever it was from a certain year to a certain year. But let's keep it real, right? If there was a way for anybody else to do the same thing, they'd do the same, right?
One
That's
thing
kind of
that
how I look at it.
Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, one thing they tell you, and this is a game that they play in real estate, and Donald Trump is in real estate big time. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is doing this, I'm just saying this is a practice that Robert Kiyosaki talks about, is that say you have an apartment, you own an apartment complex, right? And so for I think 2 years, you're allowed to take certain amount of deductions,
Yeah.
and so those 2 years, you don't have to pay any taxes whatsoever. You get all of that money. Anything that you paid in taxes, you get that back, because that's an incentive to get you to keep to upkeep your apartments, to make it to where you're not turning them into shanties and you know
Okay.
buildings. And so it's built into the tax code to incentivize entrepreneurs or real estate investors to have good properties, right? And so just people just use that code to say, okay, so after 2 years, I will sell it, right? After I can't get any more back from the upkeep, I'll sell it to somebody else. Then they will have it for 2 years, and then they'll do the upkeep again. And so it's just this revolving wheel that they all play. So I mean, that's just one practice that they use to reduce taxes. I'm all for it though. Anytime you can reduce taxes, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not someone who feels that it's super patriotic, that I'm a patriot if I pay a bunch of taxes. I don't feel, you know, I don't feel like that's my patriotic duty. I feel like, or my civil duty. I feel like, the government has, if the money that we pay is plenty, and when the government continues to build this national debt that is now officially over $27 trillion, and if they pass another stimulus plan, it's going to go more trillions. um, then the government isn't doing their job. So why am I going to be proud of giving alcohol to an alcoholic who is just going to live an abusive lifestyle? That's how I see the government with our tax money,
It's yeah.
as
So
I'm
okay,
drinking alcohol.
as you're drinking alcohol, that's right. So uh our president, he counter offered Pelosi's demand. Was it of originally it was 20 trillion? Was it
No,
20 trillion?
2.4 trillion, I
Oh,
thought.
2.4. Dude, I'm fucking way off. I don't know my numbers, as you can see. No, but so what was the counter offers? Okay, that was the original ask. Now it's how much?
So then Trump cut it off completely. He's like, nope, we're not negotiating. That was when the when he was kicking that steroid that the doctors gave him, it was kicking in, and he's
Oh
like, yeah, I'm super Trump. Hey, no
okay.
deal. No deal. You know,
So they completely scrapped the idea then.
so initially, but then
Okay,
the
okay.
high wore off, and then reality sunk in. Probably his office was flooded. It was like, Mr. President, we got to do something. We got to do something. So now he's talking about doing something even bigger than Pelosi's,
Okay.
which it's like, oh my God, as someone who looks at how much money this country spends so recklessly. I mean, the first time around, you saw how many people didn't want to go back to work because their unemployment checks were more than their regular checks were when they were going back to work. Like their work would call them back and they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm
Just stay
good.
out.
This unemployment, I'm gonna do this for 12 weeks,
Jesus.
because it was better because the government was coming in with an extra 600 bones on top
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
So, I mean, you would be an idiot if you did go back to work, if all you're doing is working restaurant work, Uber Eats, delivery, whatever, like, work that can totally be delayed. So, people that, so anyway, so I'm going, okay, but if they're going to do that same exact thing again, it's, it makes no sense. Like me, I got that money and I don't know what I did. I don't know. I think all we did was just threw it in savings because I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't need this, and then all the altruistics out there are gonna be like, well, you should have given it to someone who needed it. Hey, they got the check too, bitch.
Uh, Ow. Cigarette butt burn. So you light it up first. And this is what I mean when I say cigarette burn, right? I'm gonna explain to you. You light it up and flick it a couple times, and you go you
Oh
smear it in
yeah.
the chest.
And then
That's
when
what I
you do
call
light
that.
it up, make sure you light it up with a couple of those Benjis.
This big G, because they're giving out money over here, baby. No, but it's yeah. So, but on another side of things, though, like some people were actually investing it, and I was reading. Actually, I was listening to a podcast, right, and they were saying that we're in the year where you can actually think of something in a sense of entrepreneurship where you can start a business or start something small, right?
Yep.
And that's when what we're doing now, right? Podcasting.
Yes.
I think you saw a boom of podcasters out there because you can pick up a microphone for a couple 50 to $100. You get yourself a computer, boom. That's all you really need to start it off, right?
Yep.
So if you're gonna think in that realm, in that way of actually starting something, I feel like this was the year to do it because you had that time to stay when you were home, away from work, to really think about and analyze. Okay, what can I do right now that's going to benefit me here with from the here till 1 year, 2 years down the road, and kind of
Dude.
think of it that way. But again, some people just said, fuck it, I'm gonna just buy shit, stay home, collect that check, whatever. So I guess it's all just different state of mind, like from different
Yeah,
people, like how they're gonna utilize
no,
that. See what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I thought about that too. I've thought about all these, like this is definitely the year to risk it to get the biscuit because,
Yeah.
like, what are you going to lose right now?
Yeah.
Because, like, there's nothing. If you do lose, you're not losing that much because we're in a pandemic and there's not really that much. But if you start something and you can plant the seed and grow some roots during this pandemic,
Yep.
when this economy starts really popping off,
Yeah.
dude, you are gonna be postured in a very good place.
Yeah. No risk, no reward, baby.
Yes, absolutely. So the
That's how.
people that are putting the work in, even with investments, those people that invested that stimulus money in early, that's when the market was down. If you can
Mm-hmm.
get during those dips, dude, I've been doing this. I've been looking at these dips. I've been getting in on some of these dips, and I'm just kicking back and looking at things like that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I'm doing good.
True.
I'm happy. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to learn how to read the market though.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like there's different multiple ways of actually doing it and really moving with that, and kind of utilizing that money like into your benefit, like you were saying, right? And
Yes.
when the economy's up and popping again, man, like I said, you could fucking go big on that and actually win big. So
Yep.
it's crazy though because to think that it's already been almost a year from when this started, and I always thought initially, like when they were talking about, oh, this is gonna die down around like October or close to November. I really don't see this going down at all. Maybe till like mid next year at least. At least that's
Yeah.
my guess.
You,
That's kind of what
I
I
had
think.
no idea it was going to last as long as it was. I knew that the 1918 pandemic, the Spanish flu, that lasted for 3 years. That was around for 3 years. And so that's why I was sort of taken aback when I was listening to Anthony Fauci talking about how this could last 3 years as well.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, okay, we are 100 years later, 102 years later, and and this pandemic with all of the technology, all of the medicines, every type of we're 100 years ahead of the game. We've had 100 years to plan for this, and the pandemic is still going to stick around for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just goes to show that uh, there are just sometimes when it comes to nature, you just can't really mess with it. Like technology is not your savior. People treat science and technology like it's their savior. And it's really not a savior you can place your faith in when you look at the reality of it. The reality is this plague is going to be here for 3 years, whether you like it or not. No matter how much science and technology you want to douse in your holy water, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's here. It's here to stay. Live with it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's dude, it's time will tell. All I know is I'm just trying to, we're all trying to ride this wave out, have things to go back to, I guess, somewhat normal, and just go from there. So
Dude,
everybody's taking a hit, man. Everybody's taking a hit.
I want to, like, while we're talking about Lord and Saviors,
Lord is it.
I want to talk about the one thing that we haven't been hit with like we've seen it on our news, for a few years,
Okay.
the spaceships, the aliens,
Oh, baby.
right?
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
we
Where are we going
haven't
with this?
had our Men in Black moment where like the spaceship hovers over the White House and says,
Mm,
and then Will Smith has to and Tommy Lee Jones have to save us. So
yeah.
do you think that with the Space Force and with I heard, what was it, kind of, I think it was Spain. I think Spain government told their military, if you interact with a UFO, and what I don't know what they're calling them, if they're calling them UFOs or if they're calling them by the same terminology we call them by,
UAPs.
but if you see it, you are to take it seriously and report it. So more and more governments are starting to just talk about this, to be more open about it. Like maybe they were talking about it in the past, but now it's reaching the public's ear, the public's attention.
Listen, man, and I feel like we've talked about this before, and I love talking about this type of stuff because it's one of those topics where honestly, even before all this, right? Even before we've talked about this on air on our past previous episodes. Um, just UFOs in general, right? I was the type of person where if anybody were to talk about it, or if there was anything in relations to just the talk about UFOs, flying saucers, and all this stuff, I was kind of like, man, I don't think so. It's not true. But as just time went on, like I got older, started thinking about things that kind of outside the box, right? And I think to myself sometimes, like, how would it make any sense, right, that through this whole fucking galaxy, we're the only living things within the galaxy itself. And how long does this fucking thing go for? Nobody fucking knows. The
Mhm.
unknown. Like, let's put those in bold letters. The unknown. They're talking about how they're finding these planets that it seems like it could have inhabited life like a long time ago. Like, or it seems like it's a planet that's livable. I mean, you got to put these things together. I mean, I'm not saying it's UFO specifically, but there's something that I feel is out there that we haven't fucking ran into yet.
Yeah.
So till we come to the day where we've uncovered or we unveiled or we came in contact with something that's just not human. Oh, Brett, I'll tell you what, it's gonna be some good fucking topics to talk about on this fucking podcast. And I would want to like just my hopes of actually talking to people that have maybe had any experiences within that, and to hit the gold mine, maybe talking to some of these when we talk about Commander Fravor, somebody within that circle maybe that would be willing to talk about it, just kind of chop it up and have like a conversation about it. It would be the world, because to hear it from somebody that firsthand has been in that situation, because we can only talk about it from the outside looking in, right? But to
Right.
talk to somebody that's actually been in that situation, whoo-wee, I'll tell you what, man, that'd be fucking stellar. But all in all, it's crazy now that a lot of other governments are actually talking about that, and that there
Yeah.
actually is more awareness now. And I brought this up to you a couple of days ago, I think it was yesterday, how there's actually a documentary out called Phenomenon, and I
Yeah.
want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet, and I'll definitely, if I do watch it, I'll definitely give you my 2 cents on it and kind of give you like a little a little brief summary on what it was and what it entails and just all the information, because they have some legitimate just people in there talking about their experiences. They also have Commander Fravor in there about the TikTok incident and all that. But man,
Seems
there's
like
so
he's your
much.
go-to guy now, huh?
Oh, dude, he's one of the guys because he chased this
Wow.
fucking thing, and this dude is a vet, retired. What is it? Retired chief commander. I think he's like a chief fighter jet pilot. He has this whole squadron. He fucking trained like a lot of people. I mean, how are you not going to take word from this guy? You mean it's like me saying like somebody that knows how to somebody that collects Pokemon cards knows a lot about they know the knowledge about these cards, and I don't know shit, and I'm going to question this person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I just don't see. I see it from that angle. So
Yep.
I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. We're really living in interesting times now. This is coming out forward, and even the fucking government has made a fucking like agent like a side of they have like a website for UAPs and all that now. It's like an
Hmm.
official fucking website talking about all this stuff. So you tell me, man. I mean, it's as serious as it gets now. It's
I
not a
didn't even know
fucking
that they
yeah.
have the government has a website
Oh
now.
yeah, it's I sent it to who was it that I sent it to somebody, and I'm like, this fucking real. This is legit as it can
Wow.
get. Yeah. So I mean, dude, I want to hear. I want to like definitely look into this more as time goes and see what happens and see what we run into, because it's only getting interesting just because it's being more outspoken. But I feel like people are not really getting. They're not really getting the reaction that I feel like the people aren't reacting a lot to it. They're just like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
like whatever.
I just think that with the way that they can change things on TV now, CGI technology and all that, like literally what and Photoshop, whatever you want me to see on your Twitter page or your Instagram page, like I love, like, before I go to sleep, I love just going to these random you know Instagram pages where I see like, okay, they're talking about the pyramids, right? And
Yeah.
how even to this day we still do not have technology that can lift these blocks, these blocks that are multi tons heavy,
Yeah.
and we still don't have anything that can place them with the precision that these things were placed in the middle of the desert. Like, there's literally no proof, no indication of what they used, how they did it, and their best theory that they can come up with is a bunch of Egyptians were rolling heavy uh, blocks on logs for hundreds of miles. Like,
Yeah.
no, that ain't happening.
I think that itself, the pyramids in Egypt, it's really one of those things that makes you fucking think so hard. When I look at videos and just kind of looking at them, like there's some pretty awesome vids out there on the tube that show like aerial footage of just drones flying around it and seeing these just fucking magnificent fucking things, dude. It's dude, it would be so awesome to go visit that. And I think that's kind of one of my goals. I really want to see them up close to actually get the feel of just looking at it
Mm,
like up close and like wonder like, fuck, dude, these things were built how?
yeah.
By
Well,
who?
and they
Here's
have
a
it
little
in
fucking fun fact
Mexico
though, Brett.
City.
Let,
Huh?
let, let me school you on something.
Yeah.
So they were saying that these builders that built this thing were skilled laborers, meaning that they were held at a high class. The reason being because they found a bunch of people with the tools that they supposedly built these things buried with the actual pharaohs. So for you to
Oh,
have like a high, like for you to even be buried next to these pharaohs and the goddesses and all that. I think that's goddesses, right? The goddesses, pharaohs and goddesses.
sure. I'll
Sure,
go with
right? But
it.
no, they were buried with they were buried alongside them. So it's
I didn't
like,
know that.
yeah, no, yeah, I didn't know that. It was like, oh shit, because you would think that they're like, you used them, fuck it. All right, guys, go back to wherever you were. Thank you. That was it.
Yeah,
No
you're
pay, no
you're never
nothing.
gonna see any of Trump's builders buried next to him.
No, but I mean, that's when I was like, okay, so they were held at a high fucking like a high caliber, that
Wow.
they're gonna be buried with the pharaohs, and that's kind of like our thank you as in for building these things. And they were actually, um if I want to remember, they were actually the coating on them. It was kind of like the shining coating that they had on the pyramids itself, and that's on some of the parts were kind of like, I guess they're already damaged enough over time that it came off, but they actually
Yeah,
used to like kind of glare off the sun, like it would shine in a way.
that's what
Like
I heard.
fuck, dude.
That's what
Like
I read. Yeah.
so we're finding out a bunch of stuff, man, that that we don't know about. And they actually found a bunch of other mummies that they're fucking like unopening. I'm like, I don't know about me doing that. I mean, I don't want to mess with death itself or people that, you know, been buried around that, because I mean, curses and all that. I mean, dude, we already had enough bullshit going on right now. I don't think we need another fucking curse from the pharaohs from fucking back then, you know, to
Oh, let me open it.
give me a chisel real quick as you're lighting a cigarette. All right, who's first?
I'm ready.
No, but yeah, man. I mean, but the website that I'm
Wow.
talking about, I pulled it up. It's defense.gov, and it goes to the establishment of Identified Aerial Phenomena Task Force.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's legit,
No
baby.
way. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. People, tip touch.
dude.
Y'all hear this. That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
I'll link it. I'll put it in the I'll put it in the description for people who want to check it out and read it too, so they can check it out for themselves. But
Okay.
dude,
And I don't want to like I'm laughing. I'm only laughing at just how absurd this sounds, right?
yeah,
But if we do, like you were saying, Ed, if you know, if we could, if there's someone listening who is listening to the podcast, and if you have a story of seeing something that you can't explain or whatever, we want to hear it. Let's
yeah,
get you on the Zoom call.
yeah,
We'll spend some time with you. We'll chop it up. But we want to know. We want to know firsthand, what are people seeing? Because the
yeah,
more and more stories that I'm hearing, the less and less I'm fighting it.
yeah.
I think I'm at the point now where I've been hearing it over and over and over from people that, like what you're saying, like, you know, people that were in the military, who are, you know, they have nothing to gain if they're lying,
Mm-hmm.
and they have everything to lose if they do lie.
Yep.
So, and they're still saying this is what we're seeing. I'm not, you know, they no, and here's the thing: none of them say that they claim they know what it is they saw. They're
Mm-hmm.
just reporting what they saw.
What they saw. That's all.
This is what we saw, and I can't go beyond that because I don't know what it was, but this is what we saw.
Yeah, man. It's you know, when they released all the like at the time it was confidential. I guess it was leaked at first for the TikTok incident. It was leaked at first out of some website, and once it came out, they kind of tried to hush it. They didn't really want to speak too much on it because it was like highly classified fucking footage, right? And then once it came out, I mean, the government itself, Pentagon said, "Yep, all the videos that you've seen are legitimate. This is something that our air troops out there caught, or they caught on radar, and we have no clue what it is, and you know, we don't know what we're dealing with, but we know it could be considered as a threat because at the time when that thing happened, I think I've said this before on a previous episode, it jammed their radars. A jamming of a radar is an act of war. At that point, it's like
Yes.
we have to attack, or you know, they're gonna attack, or I don't know how it goes, whatever, but it's a threat. And a
Yeah,
threat's not good.
absolutely. You jam right. Or it's the same as in in Everett. I don't know when it was, but it was like a few years back where they found people that were shining their green lasers at
Yes.
the highway patrol, because I didn't know that highway patrol had airplanes that they used.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, yeah,
What the
they had an
fuck?
airplane. And so what was happening, there these two guys were on the deck one day in Everett, and they were shining their green lasers up at him. FBI got involved, found them.
Let's
Dunzo.
go. Damn.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
but I mean, you know, you treat that as an act of war.
Yeah, fuck that. I mean, it could be a fucking. I mean, their first thought, I'm assuming, is somebody with a gun or something trying to shoot them down. I mean, you don't know. Anything with a fucking laser like that would kind of
Yeah,
freak me out too. I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
right.
You know what I'm
Yeah. I
saying?
mean, if I
So,
see someone with a laser, I'm thinking you are. I'm automatically thinking you know enough about this technology that you know that it can take us down.
yep.
So you're trying to kill us right now
Yeah.
and harm anybody we fall on.
Yep. Fuck that.
Man,
We ain't gonna
man,
take that.
it's. I tell you, we've come a long ways away from the 9/11 days when things were so simple, when you could just get a bunch of Saudi Arabian hijackers trained by Osama bin Laden to just hijack airplanes. You know, like that was the old fashioned way of fighting wars. Now it's just like we've got aliens jamming signals from our
Yeah.
the top notch, you know, fighter jets, and
Yeah.
who
The
knows,
top of the
like
line.
you know, all I know is from the American accounts, right? China doesn't report anything. So, but could China be dealing with this as well? Like, what is China dealing with when they're doing their little things, and all of a sudden they see these tic tacs flying around in the sky, like,
Yeah.
like they don't know what to do.
Oh shit. Yeah. No, I mean, I have no clue, man. They keep everything so fucking under wraps. I mean, what if they've been dealing with the same thing, but they just don't want to talk about it?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what
And
I'm
I
saying.
feel like maybe they've had encounters like that where they just the unknown, and they just say, fuck it, we're not gonna say anything, keep our lips shut, and we're gonna fucking deal with it on our own. And
Man,
we'll go from there. But no,
man.
man, it's insane now that the world, and there's like from all over the world, there's a bunch of occurrences happen, and people talking about it more openly, and dude, I just can't wait. It's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna keep my eye on and kind of keep my ear out to just listen to like the more and stuff that comes out, and I'm really kind of like, what is it, when something like that in those terms of that topic comes out, I'm always just straight listening to it or just reading about it and just kind of keeping up to date, because it's just the unknown, the fact that it's like an unknown thing we haven't fucking dealt with, you know
Dude,
time
what
will
about
tell, baby.
that stealth bomber you were showing me? You sent me that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
link to
yeah.
that stealth bomber, and what it had is like this thing apparently was made with like all the same size and same shaped tiles to where
Yes,
you could
so
fly through the wind, and then if the wind wasn't going in your favor, all the tiles would change to say, okay, well, we'll just make it to this shape.
okay, so I'll read it out, and it's a post that I found on of course IG, and I like to look at different little topics or little articles that they have on here sometimes, or just stuff that's of interest, right? So the one thing that I sent to Brett was NASA with MIT built and tested a radically new kind of airplace wings assembled from hundreds of tiny identical pieces. This wing can change its shape midair to help control the plane in unfavorable wind conditions and provide better efficiency. So then there's another below the picture of itself. There's another post. It says the Mission Adaptive Digital Composite Aerostructure Technologies, or MADCAT, at NASA's Ames Research Center in California's Silicon Valley uses carbon fiber composites, a strong and light material made of carbon atoms, to design and test efficient ultralight wings that can adapt on the fly. The advanced carbon fiber composite materials are used to create blocks, modular units that can be arranged in repeating lattice-based patterns. It includes the
Mm.
same crisscrossing patterns you might see in garden fence or even a cherry pie. This variation in patterns creates a structure that can precisely flex and adapt. Computers integrated into the wing use algorithms to help it morph and twist into the most efficient shape mid-flight. Here's what's crazy. I saw a video one time of these fucking so-called atoms, Brett. They were forming a fucking little bridge on this like little model, like little tank, creating a bridge over the fucking water. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know what it reminds me of? And I'm a Marvel fan, people.
Mm.
Um, if people don't know what the symbiote, you might know it. You know Spider-Man, right, Brett?
Nope.
Okay, but you know who Spider-Man is, right?
Yeah, Peter
Okay,
Parker.
do you remember when you were a kid, you saw like the black Spider-Man?
Yes.
Black Spider-Man. So he's a symbiote. A symbiote pretty much is like an alien race that can like go over and morph into anything, and like, pretty much like bring the alternate side of you. So if you're good, you're bad, turns into evil, whatever, right? But anyways,
Gotcha.
it reminded me of that, because this fucking thing was kind of like shape shifting almost, and kind of creating like this little bridge. And I was like, what the fuck? But they're saying
Wow.
now they're doing it to the point where it was like this machine making a fucking actual boat. And I'm like, what? Just the technology itself. The thing about it, this is technology right now. This was, I think, last year that I saw a video on it. I mean, how close are we to doing stuff like this where it can create fucking things on the fly? Like it can move atoms and fucking create different like wing fucking like, I guess, shapes, and to help it adapt, or even like in combat. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, fuck, oh, we need to get away.
That's
Out.
why when I hear stuff like that, and when I see like the technologies that we have,
Hmm.
I'm going, okay, then why am I tripping about the national debt being over $27 trillion? Like, basically at this point, it's unpayable. There's nothing we can do to ever pay the national debt other than just blow up this currency
Yeah.
and go the way of Brazil and Argentina. The way that these countries have done is they've had to create a new currency from scratch, right? Because I don't
Mhm.
think the US dollar, I think once the US dollar goes away from the reserve, the world reserve currency, then there's going to be no use. There's going to be no point in keeping the dollar, right? So I trip on that. I'm like, I always think about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, why, why aren't we paying this national debt? But then I see that we're spending all this taxpayer money on the stuff like what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, it's so that we literally don't have to pay our debt. Like we'll, we'll get the debt so high, and then we'll be like Debo, where China will
Who
be
wanna
like,
fuck with us?
No, no. China will be like, that ain't enough. And then Debo says, make it enough.
Make it enough. No, but I mean, you're right. It's kind of like we have fucking weapons in the arsenal to say, all right, what money? What are we talking about? What
Yeah.
debt? What? You know, you ain't gonna fuck with us. We got
Right.
fucking shape shifting fucking planes that could just appear to be a fucking kite before you know it's a fucking killing droid that goes around. It's no,
Dude.
man. I feel like we're gonna utilize this thing to the utmost, and we're gonna have weapons of combat like we've never seen it before. I mean, it's
Do
gonna be
you
insane.
so if America, I mean, we are already, pretty much number one in a lot of military categories, right? Do you think if we were number one in a long shot, do you think that we would and I don't even know, do you think that there would still be this image of America being like good, good, or do you think, how like the indoctrination that we see about China, like, oh, China, they're so bad at human rights and they have all these human camps and or
Yeah.
education camps or whatever, so it's just all this indoctrination that the media throws at us to make us hate China, right? And really, like, I'm smart enough to know that even if it is just the government, the still the people themselves, just like the people of Nazi Germany, a lot of those people had to toe the line for Adolf Hitler, as they do with the Chinese dictator. And so they're, they aren't as evil as him, but they just can't fight him either. So they have to
Hmm.
just like, okay,
Can
whatever
I
you want,
abide by the
here's
fucking
your money.
ruling?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'll comply. And so that's what we're doing. But the media makes it look like the whole China, the whole country is communist, and communists are the arch nemesis of democracy, and yada yada yada.
Hmm.
Do you think that if we are number one by a long shot, that we stay honest, or keep that image, that perceived image that we're honest in the eyes of the world, or do we become Darth Vader?
I don't know, man. I mean, like Stanley said, man, with great power comes great responsibility, and I feel like we really at that point, you know, we need to steer away. I mean, we always get this perception like we're like the bullies on the block, because we're in, like, we're in different countries, like we have our military out there still in Afghanistan and all that. It's like, what the fuck are we doing there still? You know what I'm saying? They said they're still trying
So
to keep
you
the
already
peace.
have that image.
No, but I mean, it's not that I have the image, but I always heard of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
where what I think personally where we stand at. I mean, I just feel like maybe that we do need to ease off, like you were saying, right? Go back to your point where like we need to fix ourselves within this country itself first, to where like, better ourselves to where like maybe we can go out there and help other countries. You know what I'm saying? And be
Mm-hmm.
the good guy on the block and help out them from fucking getting bullied from other countries or other people or other fucking terrorist organizations, whatever you want to
With
call
no
it.
strings attached.
Yeah, exactly. No strings attached. Look, we're gonna do this, get you on your feet, uh, grow and prosper till next time, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
fucking trade whatever. But that's just how I see it. Can we keep that good image? I feel like, I mean, dude, it's so hard to tell because I mean, what is the future going to hold? Because it's like
Right.
you say, man, with all this technology that we're getting, like just with I mean, specifically what we're talking about, in the article about the plane and all that. It's kind of like saying who has the bigger stick on the block, or who has the bigger stick in general to fucking whap somebody with on the head with. It's like, you know, do we have the best military in the world as of now? Like, are we currently number one?
By technology, yes, but
Okay.
right now China has a bigger navy than we do, but we still
Mm,
have a better air force, and the
okay.
air force is just going to sink all those ships if they start setting high sail.
I think that that there's going to be a point in time where we're going to have to flex our muscles and really show what we're about. Because I feel like in order for you to gain that respect from other countries and kind of like know, like, okay, if you fuck with us, you don't know what's coming towards you. You just brace yourself.
But
But
what if we flex and we're Darth Vader, or
yeah,
we're
true. See,
that?
there's going to be that perception that we're the ones that fucking raised our fist first, and so we're automatically called the bad guy, right?
The only
But
reason I asked that is just because, like I've talked about on the podcast before about Edward Snowden. About I have his book at Permanent Record. He
yeah,
just wrote it, and I'd had it sitting there for a good couple months, and every time I'd try to read it, my little girl would jump on my lap, and of course I'd have to play with her instead of reading
yeah.
the book. But then somebody talked me into Audible. Oh, I think I was talking to you last podcast how I went to the Amazon store and they gave me 3 free months of Audible.
Oh yeah, you
But
were telling me that. Yeah,
somebody, Christian, he's been on the podcast. I can talk about him. Christian had told me that the amount of books he is now, reading or listening to is like fivefold, increasing fivefold, just because he can actually just listen to it on the way to work or listen to it more like at leisure in times where you can't normally sit down to read, right?
yeah,
So that's what I did with this Edward Snowden book. And I'm telling you, people, Audible is so worth it if there's some books and I really recommend people, like, we have got to get back into reading books again. We've really, like, there's so much, people have so much to share, so many great and rich experiences that we need to be aware of. And so anyway, Audible is just perfect. So I'm reading this book, or I'm listening to this Audible of Edward Snowden, Permanent Record, and he is talking about being on the inside of this monster that we call the United States, the CIA, the NSA. I mean, I'm telling you, he's going into detail. And like, if I ever saw America as a Darth Vader ever, it was now. It was it was under George W. Bush, under that Patriot Act. I kept saying, and the thing that I always knew about the Patriot Act was that it it allowed the government to have wide, just like wide sweeping control over us, right? But I didn't know anything beyond it. Another thing, and I don't know if this was a Patriot Act itself, but under George Bush they changed the tax code to consider corporations as people, which means that corporations were entitled to the same rights that a person would be entitled to.
yeah,
And I'm going, that makes no sense, right? And so these things that I'm telling you, George W. Bush was one of the smartest people, but conniving people that we've ever had as a president. And and what he was able to do with this country and our rights, with that Patriot Act, is insane. And the fact that Obama completely knew everything about it. Trump knows everything about it. And the fact that they're not taking this away and taking all of that power away, because I mean, it's just been proven time and time again that our government is abusing their power. Now, I'm probably going to get myself put on a list, but I think that I'm at a point now where enough people hate me in life that, if they don't want me to work for them, if they don't want me to live, they don't want me to be in this country, so be it, but I'm also at this point in my life where I'm tired of being complicit to the stuff that I'm seeing. So I'm just at the point where I'm ready to be more vocal about what I see and how I feel.
yeah.
And it's gonna shake some
Ruffle some feathers.
gonna ruffle some feathers, yeah, for sure. And it is what it is. And but the more I know, the more I'll share. And I'm telling you, people, if you really want an inside view of what our government is all about, and I'm sure there's more books out there, but this Edward Snowden Permanent Record, like, it's ugly. It's ugly. It's like finding out the worst news about how shitty your parents were, and then having to look them in the eye and tell them you love them the next day. Like it's crazy. It's
I'll have to look
crazy.
into that. That's interesting. And it's yeah, he's still on the run too, right? He's still is he still in Russia?
I keep wanting Trump to pardon him, and he won't pardon him. And he lit and we're telling I'm like the courts in California, or the Ninth Circuit Court said that he did not break any laws. He broke no laws, and yet he still would be tried. If it came over, he would still be tried, and probably locked away and thrown away the key. We'd never see him again. And
That's crazy, man.
it's nuts. It's nuts.
Have you seen the movie on that? On the Snowden, Edward Snowden?
Yeah, it wasn't that great. What
Oh,
did you think
really?
about it? I
I
don't
haven't
know.
seen it. No, I was just asking to see if you've seen it. There was I know there was a movie out there, but
He
I've
this is
never.
so that movie was just going based on what the reports were talking about.
Okay.
This book, Permanent Record, this is Edward Snowden himself, and he actually narrates the book as well, so it's even better
Oh,
to
sweet. Okay,
hear
cool.
him, yeah, talking to you, and reading the book. It's amazing. But he's talking about how his family history, how his dad worked for the Coast Guard, his mom used to work for the government as well. So he was talking about just his, he hated school, but he was super smart with technology. He's my age. I didn't know he's my exact age. We were both born in 1983. And so he's a lot of the things he talked about my generation, about our generation, like I completely related, because I'm like, dude, I remember all this stuff. I remember, he said that our generation was the last generation, before the future, every other generation after us was completely digital. Everything,
Mm,
pictures, posts, everything. And he talked about how you used to be able to own your own freedom. You used to own your own, pictures and whatever. But now, with all these user agreements that you sign with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you don't own any of it. Twitter, those companies, whoever you're using, whatever platform you're using, they own it all.
interesting.
So he really went in, and he was just giving his own perspective of everything. He was talking about, dude, I'm guaranteeing you, he's talking about procedures that they used that I guarantee you they had to switch some things up at the NSA and the CIA, because of how he said, "Yep, when I went to Geneva, this is what I did. This is how we would recruit. This is how we would find people." Da 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 da. Like, he made some people mad.
Oh, wow. I'll have to
But
check it out. You have to forward me that title, that book, man, because it's. I keep forgetting that we're in that year, or we're living in the future to where you can actually fucking listen to books.
oh, it's,
No,
dude, I'm telling you,
it's
like, I'm definitely going to subscribe to Audible, and there's so many titles that I want to take in. Not just, against the government. And I'm not an anti-government guy, but I am anti-corruption.
yeah,
And I think that we have a job to do, that it is our civil duty to stand against our government. And even our founders said that. Said, as soon as your government starts becoming corrupt, you have to start standing up against them. And that's exactly what Snowden did. And that was one of the most patriotic things that I've ever seen in my generation somebody do. Somebody who literally had everything given to him. He had every opportunity to succeed, to excel, to have everything he wanted. And yet he still took the path of honesty and integrity and gave us the truth. And it forced the NSA to get rid of all of their bulk collection of data.
yeah.
Forced them, because they were saying, the courts were like, yeah, that's kind of true. So NSA, why are you keeping all of this data? Why do you keep everything that Eduardo and that Brett have, all of their phone calls and all that, to where if something along the lines ever happened, say along the lines, I meet somebody, then they have, all of the years that they've been tracking me to look back on. And they're saying that's you can't do that. That's illegal.
Fuck that. Fuck all that. That's some crazy shit, man. That's like Big Brother just watching you all the time, or them keeping tabs on you,
Big Brother's
whatever you do.
watching, because
Yeah.
Big Brother cares.
Ha. Fuck no, he doesn't care.
Yeah, man. So
It's insane, man. That's insane. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. We have to, like you said, us as just the citizens, we have to fucking stand up against a fucking tyrannical government, man. Fuck that. Corruption
E-
and all that,
Easier said than done, right? I mean,
for sure.
try being that in China. Try doing that
And Hong Kong,
in
right? What they
Egypt.
were doing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hong Kong is what they were doing. Yeah, and
Fuck,
look at,
man.
they've all had to flee.
It's
So,
fucking crazy.
Nazi Germany, they tried to, there have been so many people that asked, well, why couldn't people just stand up against the Nazis when they saw all this
Oh,
stuff?
they did.
Dude,
They did, right? They tried to,
I don't
but
think so. No, I
they
think
didn't
that
try to. I thought they
what
did.
happened was they just went with it. They went with it
Oh,
because,
okay, okay, okay.
the Nazis were literally like at every door, and they were, if the Jewish people or anybody who was helping the Jewish people, they would take all of their property away from them and give it to somebody else.
Mm,
And so, so all of a sudden, if you see that going on in your neighborhood, all you're doing is, let's just keep it quiet, and probably just hoping that somebody would take over our country and beat the Nazis at war, like hoping the Russians could beat them, hoping that Poland could beat them. Poland was their first invasion, and that's when everything got real. We're like, holy, these guys really are going for the globe,
yeah.
you know?
No, there was a map at one point when I saw a documentary about just like how much they invaded, dude. They were fucking sweeping through like nothing, dude. Nothing. Then we got involved. Like, fuck that.
And here's the thing, like, you could argue, somebody who had an objective view could argue that America in certain ways is doing that. Look at how many countries we're in. When we were a part of the allies that won World War II, America put ourselves in all of these countries. We put embassies in all of these countries. And Edward Snowden talks about that in Permanent Records. So I don't want to give too much, and I don't want to take up too much time, but these are things that you know it's crazy. It's
Hey,
crazy.
hey, you
So
gotta
I
do this. You
mean,
gotta do this. You gotta find out for yourself. Just
next
move.
time.
You just cut out the screen, just blacks out. I'm like, Brett, would you go? Brett,
We don't
Brett.
know. We haven't heard. Brett died in a fiery car accident.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is
that's
no
what
longer here
happens
with
to.
us, and I want to be doing the podcast by
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: if I ever die, I'm telling you right now, I didn't do it.
I
It
didn't.
was not an accident. Somebody did it. It's there's no way that I have to die. There's no reason I have to die. But if I die, I guarantee you, it was somebody that did something. Somebody that knows something. I said something. I pissed somebody off.
And for the fear, I mean, and for the people wondering out there, uh, obviously Brett has glasses on. There's the fear in his eyes.
And I'm not a Brett body double either. I'm not wearing
Yeah,
these because I'm a body double.
right. Body double.
Brett's actually been gone since episode 14.
Dude, that's crazy too. Thinking of, okay, episode 37. This is officially, man. We're almost at big 40. God dang, dude,
Dude,
time is flying.
just
It's
it's
crazy, man.
crazy. Yeah, yeah. And it's cool because we just keep, we keep doing our own thing. God, I keep hitting the table. It's shaking everything.
Oh, I thought it was an
I wouldn't
earthquake down
worry,
over
but I
there where
know
you're
that
at.
all these are going on video. So
It's all, yeah, no, it's
till YouTube
dude,
kicks us off.
I know, right?
Being
Until
too
we're
honest.
we're silenced.
Yeah, censored,
Since no, man,
unpersoned.
but in all honesty though, in all seriousness, it's amazing so far this journey has been, doing this, and dude, it's awesome getting with you and talking about everything. It's just almost like, meeting in a virtual bar and kind of just, talking just about the most randomest shit. And that's the beauty of it. We can always come up with different topics to talk about as we go, and just, give anybody else an entertaining day or a couple hours or, a couple minutes, for to listen to something that just keep their mind off something else or whatever the case may be. But it's just cool to just get on this and have just conversations just about whatever we want. So
Yeah, man. Open
no,
forum.
dude.
I think that's where you get the most, because really we live in a time where you really aren't allowed to speak freely anymore. Not in this country, because it's just this unwritten and unspoken code that if you speak anything against what the public accepted criteria is, then you're automatically the bad guy. You're automatically against us. And the beauty about having an open forum is that's when all the best ideas come out. That's when all the best, when the truth comes out, when just everything, the best of the best comes out when everybody can be honest and
Yeah.
transparent. So, that's where, like, I think our media has completely failed us. I was taking this poll one day. It was from PBS, right? And they asked 3 questions. They said, um, with Trump's recent thing bout with COVID, does this impact your view on how he can remain a president?
Mm-hmm.
The one was yes. I'm very afraid of him, of this prognosis, and of him, remaining president. 2 is no, unbothered. 3 is I don't know. Right. So I picked no. I said, I'm not bothered by this at all. Like, he's handling it. So luckily they give you the what people voted. 62% of the people that took that thing said they were unbothered. But if you were listening to, like, the media, the story, right, and everything that you hear, like whether it's CNN or MSNBC or whatever, right, you're listening and you're tuning into your Apple News, right? Apple News slants heavily to the left. They're going to make us all feel like President Trump having COVID, like, oh my God, he needs to be out of the picture right now. He shouldn't even be our president, right? But I see this poll where, like, 62,000 people took it. No, I'm sorry, 35. Shoot, how many? It was 65,000 people that took the poll, and 62% said that they were not bothered by it. And I'm going,
Interesting.
so that's funny. So that's where it made me, like, think about this election coming up and how it's all mail-in ballots. I mean, that's another thing that's kind of weird. You're hearing all these conspiracy theories, like, oh, they're not even conspiracy theories. These are real reports where they are finding reports that are just dumped in the mail. And then the other side is saying, well, no, that's fake. That's all conspiracy news. No, this is like real stuff. These are the police officials reporting this to the media, and the media is saying, no, that's conspiracy. So now they're just telling the police that they're conspiracy. Like, it's crazy. I think this election is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's especially the fact that we're doing all mail-in ballot. I mean, anything really can go on or happen, when you're mailing shit. So it's only logical sense, like anything can happen.
Yeah, Washington. We are a completely mail-in ballot state. We've been that since the early '90s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, there was an election for mayor of Seattle that was really no. It was senator, for one of the senators of the state, and all of a sudden the Republican won. This was in the early '90s somewhere. And the Republican had won, and then all of a sudden King County was like, oh wait, we found 3,500 or 35,000 ballots behind a microwave. So and they were all for the Democrat, and then all of a sudden the Democrat won. So Washington has seen its own conspiracy take place with these mail-in ballots, and it's not beyond cheating. I mean, if there's a will to cheat, there's a way to cheat, and that's where I'll leave it.
Is that where you want to end it too?
Yeah.
You don't want to speak too much, do you?
I want to live long enough for a next podcast, right?
Okay.
I don't want to get killed yet.
Yeah. Okay, man. I mean, hey, the captain has spoken, and it's first sailor here will follow command. Well, everybody, if anybody wants to just check out any of the other previous episodes along with this one, you can definitely check us out on all major streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn FM Radio, all that good stuff. And you can also check out the video side of this podcast on our YouTube page. Just look up at the Tip Touch Podcast. And until then, catch us on the next episode. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you then.
Boom.